right, what's up, everybody? What up, y'all? What up, y'all? Welcome to the daily live stream. So, Sunday is technically a treat because Sunday is not a normal live stream day for us. But because I've been running around in the mountains, running around in the snow, looking at properties, just doing a lot of exciting things with life, I wanted to come back today and I wanted it to be a treat. So, I decided to run a live stream on Sunday, and sometimes we do that over here, depending on what's going on. So this is not an every Sunday thing, but it is a today thing. I got a couple of clips I want us to watch. I actually want us to watch them on the live stream, so I'm super excited about that on the live stream, of course, but on the iPad, and that's because you guys that have been rocking with me for some time know that when we started out, I would always have the camera angle pointed towards the computer, and that's how we would pretty much kind of like watch the news that we would collect. So we're gonna do the same thing like that tonight, but I'm gonna play it on the iPad for you guys. Shout out to everyone who's watching. As you guys come in, do me a favor and hit that like button. Say where you're watching from. Same rules of engagement as always. Please be respectful in the chat. If you disrespect my mods, my subscribers, or my supporters, that's the only thing that gets you banned or kicked out of the chat. I don't play that over here. Other than that, just respect each other. Be interactive in the chat because we want to know your opinion. So I got a couple of clips, short clips, because it's a Sunday, and I just wanted to jump on here and give you guys a quick treat. I am gonna go per the title. So first up, it looks like we have Clav loves the N word. So those of you that don't know, first and foremost, shout out to Antonio Talks. He is a channel favorite. We react to Antonio on the channel often. He covered a guy named Clavicular, a young guy who we've covered on the channel before. He happens to be overly obsessed with the N word. So we're gonna watch Clavicular. We're gonna watch Clavicular have a run-in with a couple of black guys wherever he's at. It looks like he's downtown somewhere. I'm not sure exactly the city, but he's downtown Eden, and it looks like a couple of black guys show up, and they're obviously upset, but they look like, I'm not gonna say they look like they're ready to fight, but they're kind of ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? And they're telling him, all of that stuff that you normally say online, say it right now. And it's funny to see someone's entire demeanor change when they have this group of people in front of them, right? Especially his stupid friend. Like, his friend was really the one that annoyed me because inside the restaurant, his friend wants to make chimp noises, right? He wants to make monkey noises. But then when they're outside the restaurant and the black guys are saying, all right, say this right now, like, do something right now, nobody has anything to say. And of course, I'm like, oh, what do you know? The chimp noises go away. The monkey noises go away. Why don't you act like a monkey right now while you're outside in front of them? But of course, he's not going to do that. So we're going to use the iPad to watch the news, just like we used to back in the day, because I like to try different things. I know the things that, like, people like to see, that it likes to click on the algorithm. So every time I try something different, it just kind of gives me a testament as to what you guys like. So this is something I want to do. Let's jump right into the first clip that we have. So we're going to watch Clavicular talk about how much he loves the N-word. At least he's not talking about it, but, he's acting like it here in this clip. All right, which way do I want to find him? He's right here. Yeah, so like I said, shout out to Antonio Talks. Channel favorite.
Is the leader. So there's a streamer by the name of Clavicular. Now, this individual is the leader and the face of the whole Looks Maxing community. If you don't know what Looks Maxing is, good. But these are a group of individuals whose whole purpose is upgrading their looks. There's nothing wrong with that on surface, right? But this Clavicular dude, like, he takes it to a whole nother level. He's taking meth and cocaine, getting surgery, smashing his bones, all type of crazy stuff to look like the average white man. I mean, he could have just let puberty run his course and go to the gym, and he would have been straight. Now, this Clavicular dude, he started back streaming a few months ago, and he uses the platform Kick. Anytime we see a nigga streaming on Kick, we already know he up to no good. Like I say all the time, in 2026, a lot of these younger kids, they think racism is funny, they think misogyny is funny, they think being edgy is funny, right? So most of these Kick streamers, they racist, and they do racist things to appeal to their audience.
I gotta, play some, play gangster rap or some shit like that. You gonna go acapella on Blueface?
Just give me an excuse to say nigga, you know? That's what I like to say.
Just even the way he say the N word, like it just sounds so forced. Like the G's are capital for some reason, nigga. Like why do y'all say it like that?
How's that for your rating? Huh? That's not a good rating?
Guy, and he keeps saying the N-word.
Nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm peeking this nigga. Oh, you swear to God, I stick that nigga on my gun and robbed him. Chat, I'm joining face. I'm face, nigga. Street nigga.
He walks around saying the word all the time, and you know his audience, they eat it up. Now Clavicular, it caught up to him because he got pressed in Miami the other night.
Chilling, bro. And I got thousands of niggas gotta come down. My daughter black and my son black. He talking about black people, talking about my kids. Fuck that bitch ass nigga. Call me a nigga, hoe.
Stand on it.
Alright, brother. Call me a hoe, nigga. What you have to say?
They called him out.
And look at this, y'all. They always got them a black bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? You pay a nigga the right amount of money, he'll sell out his folks.
People, bitch ass nigga. You scared that was gonna get in there. Oh, yeah.
And just look at how he all sitting back here so scared, trying to make himself look small, bruh. Bruh on his ass, man.
You're not saying anything either.
Push it, nigga. Push it, man.
Clavicular, why you so quiet? That was the guy making the chimp noises.
This is Vitaly.
That was the guy
all
right
these
there.
Weird ass white. I don't want to. I'ma just.
Bitch, nigga, you a trick, nigga. Go ahead, bro. Push it by, man. You a millionaire by. Go ahead, you a trick, boy. Go ahead,
Can't say nothing. He can't say
Go
nothing.
ahead, bro. Go ahead. Please. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you know,
Can't
bro.
say anything.
Talk about black people, talk about my kids.
Keep real nigga right here, bro.
You say something about black people, say something about my kids.
Look
I'm
at
selling candy, bro.
And you know, at one point in time, bro, a lot of white dudes were scared to say the N-word. They wouldn't talk crazy around certain black people. But in 2026, that whole shit has changed. These rappers going onto these streams with these fucking white boys. These black dudes giving the N-word pass. Inviting everybody to the fucking cookout because they do a little dance or they got a little, like the dumbest shit ever, bro. We are too inclusive. We too loving. For the same people that wouldn't do the same for us. And I'm not a confrontational person on no level. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm never going to get in an argument with somebody. I'm never going to get in road rage, never going to honk my, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do nothing crazy. Because my main goal is getting back home to my family, you know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, I would never even put myself in that type of situation. I do have a few white friends. But my white friends, they know not to try no edgy jokes with me, not to try no racist shit or say the N-word. Like, it's boundaries. That's why I take it as a compliment in 2026 when someone refers to me as a black supremacist. Because me being a black supremacist is just having boundaries. Like, I don't like that racist shit. We not gonna do none of that. Because they are so used to getting their way and being like, hey bro, it's just a joke. Let me say the word no. Now, aside from this situation, this Clavicular dude, he's pretty much an open racist. And he always makes it known that he doesn't like black girls. He wouldn't talk to them.
Wait, man. I went there, bro. It was nice.
So you like black girls?
I like light-skinned girls, yeah.
I wouldn't exactly say that's not really my type.
I used to not be my type, bro. I would always be like, I don't think black girls are pretty and everything. Then I went out in the real world and saw a bunch of amazing, beautiful black queens.
PR answer. This nigga is an open racist. Like, yo, we always know what the he used to say, bro.
Bro went over to Twitch and these guys did.
Nah, for real though. Like, alright, you don't think Ruby Rose is bad as fuck?
No.
What?
You like all races?
Yeah, I see you invited Clav and a couple black girls over. You like black girls?
No. Not at all. Like, not even a little bit.
He's a kick streamer. I expect nothing less from this dude. When he first came out, the whole looks maxing thing it's rooted in goddamn white supremacy anyway. It's all about idolizing white features, so I could never get down with that. The crazy thing is, this man still be having black women try to talk to him and be chasing him. Like, what the fuck is wrong with some of these girls?
I am not the looks maxing community whatsoever, but I do get my fair share of TikToks, and I keep seeing black girls fantasize over Clavicular. Like, can we please stick to the black guys, okay? This man openly says the N-word in, like, most of his sentences, and then he doesn't even say it right. Like, it just sounds out of place when he says it.
Like with the S.
And then also, I think we could all recall that one clip where his friend was like, Marlon mocks you, and then he was like, yeah, but he's black. And then started, like, tapping on the table like this. Like, guys, come on, please, let's stick to the plot, okay? That is not our cup of tea. There's a deep fish in the ocean, okay?
Taking away. Going
You want my number?
You have
I Okay, we'll cut it out. Yeah.
They don't have enough ass. White guy.
I'm a cute white guy.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've been seeing a lot of ugly ones.
Oh, okay. To be fair, they probably didn't know who this nigga was, but I mean, yeah.
Bro, here, wait, look.
This clip right here really
Bro,
pissed
on
me
God,
off.
she looks like Snaggy Hose. On my life. On my life. Yes or no?
And just even the fact he was comfortable with doing that, putting that to her head, and like, come on, my black queen, you should have walked away.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I feel the same way.
Like,
That's
stop
kinda
giving
crazy.
these. I don't understand it, bro. I really don't. We gotta love ourselves more, bro. We gotta love ourselves more.
Be completely honest. Have you ever had sex with a black dude? Say, put it on your mom's life.
We are nowhere present, but still on their mind. Like, what? Why are you worried about that?
You've never hooked up with a black guy? Interesting.
I'm convinced a lot of these folks just obsessed with us, man. That hate is actually an obsession. It's actually, envy and jealousy in some cases. It's just crazy to me that in 2026, man, people like this have huge followings. They're openly racist. They're openly, it's bad, man. That's gonna be it for this video, though. If y'all want to see something similar to this, go check out my video on the Looks Matson community as a whole. Hey, I need you to stop scrolling.
Shout out to Antonio Talks. So yeah, Antonio Talks, channel favorite. I had to play that one because, man, Clavicular's funny to me, man. This guy's funny. I want to say he's equally on the same. I want to say he's on the same playing field as Nick Fuentes when I sit down and I actually think about like how ridiculous he could be sometimes, and I'm just thinking to myself like, come on, bro. Like you could be doing so many other things than the bone smashing. Then Clavicular, I think the reason why I don't make fun of him as much is because he has a lot of problems. Like I've watched a lot of documentaries on like him coming up from when he was in like junior high school. He started using a lot of things super early, before puberty even started to kick in, and then he talks about a lot of like some of the mental things he dealt with, some of the physical things he dealt with. He hates talking to people. He would say that things. He would say things like that. He would say things like he needs to take certain drugs just to be able to like stand 30-minute conversations with people because he just couldn't stand and talk to people. So, like watching things like that and then kind of seeing him in the Looks Maxing community and seeing some of the dumb stuff that he says, it doesn't really faze me because when you know things like that about a person behind the scenes, it's like, especially as you get older, it's easier for them to be that way in front of a camera, to portray this type of person that they're not in front of people, so people like them more. People think that they're hot or that, like nothing gets to them, or like they're this certain type of superhuman when it's not even that. You know what I mean? Like I think he deals with a lot, behind closed doors. So sometimes when I see him acting like this in public, sometimes I'm like, dude, it's like pouring salt on a wound when I see him do this. So let's jump into the next clip of the live stream. We got, based on the title, next up we got Candace Owens on Israel. So she also has one of my favorite Middle Eastern, I believe he is comedians. I'm not going to say his, I think he's Bassem Youssef, but she has him on her channel. And I think he makes some great takes. They talk about Israel. I think that it's healthy and it's normal for someone to want to criticize the government of Israel. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Some people seem to have this mixed up, or this type of confliction where it's like you can't talk about Israel at all because of what Scripture says. And I don't think that that's what Scripture means. If you're critical of the government, if you're critical of Bibi Netanyahu because you don't like that he's doing certain things or he's coming off like a war criminal, I don't think there's anything against that. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, I don't like the way Israel's carrying themselves in this war, or I feel like they're creating lots of war crimes. I don't think that means someone's anti-Semitic. So wherever that rhetoric comes from, I think we really need to just throw it in the trash and ignore it. It's annoying because I think someone can just be against war and they can legitimately not be in favor of something. So yeah, shout out to Candace Owens for having Bassem on. But let's take a look at this clip. I think it was an awesome clip. They had some great takes. Where is she at? Right here. Yeah, shout out to Liberty Vote. He covered this. One of my favorite YouTubers for the right side of the news. Shout out, meaning right side, no BS news. So shout out to him.
to believe that they are the victim.
Introductory offer for a $39 bottle for $1. That includes shipping to get into the club. You can cancel at any time, but I don't think you're going to cancel because this olive oil is the best I've ever had. It's sourced from the freshest. Let's get into the conversation.
This is the problem. Israel always victimizes itself, and I have never seen a victim putting their oppressor under siege and bombing them 24/7. Israel wants you to believe that they are the victim. Dealing with Israel is so difficult. It's like being in a relationship with a narcissistic psychopath. He you up, and then he makes you think it's your fault. I have two questions. The question is,
That's
how can
crazy.
you justify the killing in the West Bank where Hamas does not exist? And if the disproportionate response during over all of these years have actually worked, what will be new this time that did not happen before? I just want to. That was my question.
I mean, it's brilliant. Just looking at it and going, wait a second, there's no Hamas there. Why are we just killing Palestinians for fun? And it was just brilliant. It genuinely was. It was brilliant.
Well, they're continuing. Like the Gaza war never ended. The ceasefire never happened. They killed more children since the ceasefire, more than Israeli kids were killed since 1948.
Oh,
can you imagine?
That's incredible.
In 3 weeks, they killed more children from the Palestinian side, more than Israeli kids were killed all through 75 years.
Do you know what I always say to people, and it astonishes me that they can't think through this. If you think just because it's happening over there, like you're going to agree with these people, you're going to back these people up, you're going to maybe take a check, $7,000, maybe $100,000 to attack people that are standing up and saying this is wrong. But you can't be so dense as to think that they won't kill you too. That's what's mind-boggling. It's like you realize that when they want America, they'll kill your kids too.
Isn't that happening also?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't like ICE has been trained by the IDF? Isn't that the same tactics that's used by ICE and used by many of the police departments? They get trained. They're actually one of the ICE offices that when they did like locations, like kind of, they found that the location of one of their field offices is in Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Why do we have ICE offices?
I think it was.
Well, Max Blumenthal calls this phenomenon the imperial boomerang, that the tactics the United States uses in military operations overseas and in regime change operations is turned back on the American populace through a police state. And, we saw that back as one of the worst ramifications of the war on terror, too, getting the DHS and the Patriot Act, an expansive surveillance state that's shredding the Fourth Amendment. And if you don't want to just take Max on the dissident left's view on that, take a look at what Michael Schellenberger has talked about in this regard, too, saying those same kind of psyops, the same sort of military tactics of psychological warfare have been turned inwards. In this regard, too, saying those shredding the Fourth Amendment. And if you don't want to just take Max on the dissident left's view on that, take a look at what Michael Schellenberger has talked about in this regard.
Because Schellenberger and Blumenthal, they both have very similar stances on this. So shout out to Liberty Vote for pointing that out, because it's like sometimes people miss that if they're not paying close attention to Michael.
Who's saying those same kind of psyops, the same sort of military tactics of psychological warfare have been turned inward. So that is true. As far as the Palestinians that have been killed since the ceasefire, he's right about that. I haven't checked the latest number, but Dave DeCamp at antiwar.com has been covering that very vigorously. And at one point, the last time I checked, it was over 500 Palestinians killed by Israel since the ceasefire. And we put the ceasefire in quotes because they're still doing a genocide. They're just carrying it out in different degrees and in different ways under the auspices of a current, tenuous peace that doesn't exist. It didn't address any of the problems. So I think there's a lot of truth in what they're saying here.
Department of Homeland Security.
That's kind of a couple of months ago. The ICE is just like a recent 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. So why are all of these American security entities are playing out from Tel Aviv? But the question is stupid because you have all of these billionaires: Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Larry Ellison. They just like they have a weird affair with Israel. They openly donate to the IDF. They openly have their headquarters in Israel. They pump huge amount of money. They use their technology in order to kill more Palestinians, and they use Palestinians as rat labs in order to test these AI advanced, horrible, lethal weapons. It's terrible. And now.
It absolutely is. That is being used. Palantir's AI software using algorithms to determine who lives and dies in Gaza. That is right. That's part of the PayPal mafia. That's part of Peter Thiel's company. With J.D. Vance has a very close association.
Yep, J.D.
Having
Vance.
worked for Thiel in Mithril, his venture capital firm, forever. Bossam's also right about the fact that Larry Ellison's the biggest private donor to the IDF in the world. The Zionist that just took control of TikTok under his purchasing operation, and his family taking control of Paramount and CBS News. All this is right. This is
he is a Zionist. Shout out to Liberty Vote coming through with the information.
It's the new campaign. It's a new war by Israel against the United States through psychological warfare and through the U.S. via military contractors like Palantir and CIA contractors to determine who lives and dies, how this genocide's carried out. I want nothing to do with it. It's ghastly. It's dreadful.
America is using it. America now is invading the world. And I have to tell you, as an immigrant, as a new immigrant in this country, I'm enjoying it. I'm for the first time, I'm on the side where history is happening to somewhere else. It is amazing.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm kind of getting used to this feeling of being in a country that can do whatever the hell it wants with no consequences. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think that's overplaying it. We have immense consequences. More enemies overseas, a bigger surveillance apparatus. We have debt.
I think it's interesting how Bassem looks at that. He says he's enjoying living in a country that can do whatever the hell it wants. That's interesting that that's his take on that, what he sees President Trump doing.
Destruction,
But Liberty Vote is right.
Out over the
more enemies overseas. That is one thing. A lot of people have not been happy with a lot of things that President Trump has done since he's been in office. No one has done anything about it, but they have talked about how unhappy they are about it.
Israel first relationship, especially on the right. The MAGA civil war is largely because of that. We have our civil liberties just being desecrated through what comes from these policies. So I don't think there's ever no consequences. There's the seen and unseen, and a lot of Americans are disconnected from it, but it plays into the financial system, our foreign policy, our domestic policy, psychological operations carried out by the deep state. All those things are ramifications. So I have to take exception with that a little bit.
It's amazing. I mean, I have this kind of, I don't know. It seems that people from the third world who came to country, their childhood trauma is now our country's foreign policy.
Sadly, and I just don't think people understand. You can't go halfway with a psychopath. They don't feel anything. They kill people. If they kill a child and then you defend that, why do you think your kids are safe? I just don't understand the common sense of that.
I'm telling you, it is such a difference to live in a country like America that can invade half of the world and still host the Olympics.
I know.
They can go and invade your country, and then the next day it's like, I'm going to host the FIFA World Cup, and I'm going to deny your people the entry visa. That is like one huge boss level kind of control.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually happy that that's happening to Denmark. We're gonna get Greenland because now I know it's not about brown people.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're doing anymore. And I'm like, I was behind Trump. We're supposed to do no new wars, and then it's like BB's like, here's what you're gonna do. Here's what you're gonna do. Yeah. Obviously, look, he took Mary Madelson's money, and so I don't even pay attention to it anymore.
I'm just happy.
If you're a veteran with a disability rating, or and love a veteran with a disability rating, then this new info.
Yeah, with Greenland, it doesn't seem like that's going to be acquired. And by the U.S. has every right, according to an agreement set up in, I believe, 1951 with Denmark. The U.S. can rebuild bases at any time. We were throwing lots of propaganda about how the U.S. needs it. We need to take Greenland, otherwise China or Russia will take it tomorrow. All this nonsense. My biggest fear is that isn't over. That situation isn't over whatsoever, and that European leaders will actually pressure Denmark to give Greenland to the United States in return for a U.S. security agreement for Ukraine, which is exactly what the neocons and globalists in the EU want, to keep the U.S. embroiled in that proxy war for generations to come, on the backs, of course, of the American taxpayers in a military theater thousands of miles away that, again, doesn't concern us whatsoever.
Because now I know that America doesn't see color, it sees opportunity.
It
doesn't hate like Muslim people, it just hate underutilized land.
But what do you? I mean, clearly.
Do you think like America is now like the
But
word?
it's not even America.
America is like the HOA of the word. It's like we see that you cannot use it.
It's not true. I promise you, it is not America. We might have been brainwashed, but this is very clearly like an Israeli empire. And LBJ murdered JFK, got his boys in there, and took over our military. And everything else is just noise and Hollywood and manipulation. And now it's cracking. And now people are looking up and going, "Wait, why are we being so controlled? Why are our kids being led to believe that they have to support Zionism? Why am I not allowed to make a decision about whether I think this or think that?" The fake algorithm pretending that people are popular when they're not. And so the mass awakening has them.
And we saw like people like Nick Fuentes talk about things like this, like how at some point in time the algorithm would push people who were very pro-Israel, and that's all that we would see. We wouldn't see anyone who objected anything like that. We would just see people who would go along with being pro-Israel. And then now it seems like it's more accepted for that to be talked about in a more negative way, he's saying.
Panicked. They're making a lot of mistakes right now. Case in point, going after Miss Rachel seems like an unbelievable mistake. But I do think the biggest threat to their empire is the awareness. And that's why they're like sloppy. Like, we're just going to buy TikTok. I don't think the money is the real power. The illusion, the trick was actually the illusion. We all believed they were the victims. We watched the movies. We were in the classroom. We bought into the 9/11 rhetoric. The danger for them is when all of a sudden it go 330 million people, if that's how many are in America now, wake up and go, wait a second, I actually think what you're doing is pretty horrific. What's their next move?
I'll tell.
Yeah, I mean, that is what is at the heart of this thing. It is desperate moves by the Israel lobby, by the Zionists, in response to the fact that they know that their timeline is running out. The American right is waking up to this, really for the first time, questioning the Israel first attachment that is just so pervasive in our government, in Congress, in the presidency, in the deep state, what have you, is that these tactics right now are being utilized as psychological warfare to try to recapture what is clearly being lost. And that timeline, to have such a Israel-centric government, does seem to be closing. That window seems to be closing. And that's why in 10 years, I don't think the Israel lobby will be as, forceful in American politics. Now, at some point, they will be, in the U.S. populace is definitely disconnected from the political class. There'll still be rich Zionist donors funding it, but the political capital won't be there in the same way because so many of us have rejected it. Many of us have long rejected it, and then some people have rejected it in the last few years. That is causing this erratic behavior. The Miss Rachel thing just puts it right up in the forefront. It's almost like Stop Anti-Semitism, that X account that promoted Miss Rachel as a finalist in Anti-Semite of the Year award race, which, by the way, Tucker Carlson won this year. Candace Owens won last year. Is the best way to get people to just turn away and see the nonsense for what this is, that you're going to smear Miss Rachel for saying, hey, I'm against people being killed, children being killed, and that includes Palestinians. Oh, imagine that. That includes Palestinians. That's
This is right. You're an anti-Semite if you believe that, and that's where I was like, how ridiculous does this sound? Like, so we don't want any children to be killed, but if they're Palestinian children, then that's okay. It's like, now we really have an issue right now if people are thinking like that. So shout out to Liberty Vote for saying that first and foremost, because I totally agree with that. You guys can head over to his channel and watch the rest of that. I want you guys to go over there and give him his due views. Shout out to him. He is a channel favorite, and shout out to Candace Owens for covering that, and shout out to Basim for being on there as well. Dude, that last that take of Israel he had was priceless. He said it's like being with a narcissist. They F you up and then they make you feel like it's your fault. I was like, dude, that's awesome. All right, so going according to dude, that last my fault, guys. Go according to the title. Let's see where we're at. Bill O'Reilly, Trump versus Obama. All right. Bill O'Reilly actually covered something that I thought was very interesting. He covered the difference between President Trump's immigration numbers currently with his administration for this term versus Obama's numbers when Obama was in office. This is extremely important because we have people now. I know part of the reason why we're flipping out is because we're seeing we have so much exposure to what ICE is doing. We didn't have this level of exposure, when Obama was in office and he was doing what he was doing. It wasn't cameras constantly on ICE and in the street with people, and people weren't recording every single thing. Now it is like that, so we see a whole bunch more than what we've ever seen before, and I think that's why people are so angry. But to be honest, President Trump's numbers are not touching former President Barack Obama's numbers when it comes to immigration. It just is what it is. It's not. It's a fact. Obama deported a lot of people, and while President Trump his administration has been very proactive, and they've been out there doing what they can do, they just haven't touched Obama's numbers. So we're gonna take a look at what Bill O'Reilly had to say in regards to that.
Look at this card.
All right. And the last one was 2000. All right. And the last one was 2012 to 16, or when the big memo and advanced the Minnesota chaos story. And the way to do that is to understand what's happening in the big political picture. So when Barack Obama was president, 2 terms, as you know, all right, and the last one was 2012 to 16, or 2013 to 17, all right, he lost in 16. The Democrats lost to Trump. Now, in the second term, there were some very interesting statistics about illegal immigration. So, in one term, Barack Obama deported more than 2 million foreign nationals. 2 million. Now, compare that to Biden's 4 years in office, 545,000. Look at that. In Trump's first term, he deported 935,000. So Obama leads the league far in deportations.
Very far.
Yet you didn't hear his own party crucify him.
Nope.
At all. You didn't hear the American media go after Barack Obama, did you?
Nope.
No, they didn't do it. That just shows you how hollow this whole thing is. Now, just give you another stat that you find interesting. Asylum applications filed under Barack Obama's last term, 4 years, 239,000. And the Obama administration only granted 30.
This number I thought was absolutely insane. I said, now this right there here spoke to the rigidity of the of Obama's policy at the time when it came to immigration. 239,000 applications filed, and they only accepted 35,000. What does that leave? 204K. I was like, wow, that's insane. That is insane. They were that strict.
5,000 asylum.
And no one said anything to Obama about this.
And then the moment that another Democrat, Biden, came in, everybody got asylum. Yep. Everybody came across. And the party applauded that. But the party didn't, as I said, criticize Obama. All right? So Barack Obama, if you read Confronting the Presidents, I gave him pretty good marks. I don't like the way Obamacare was put together, but he worked hard. And I thought he had a pretty good vision of what was right and what was wrong. And he was very clear about illegal immigration. Roll the tape.
There are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
And now, every single Democrat elected to the House and Senate, disagrees with Barack Obama. That's a stunning piece of history. A total reversal of a party philosophy. And Mr. Obama is still very popular among Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why this is happening in a moment. So there was a little bit of
and that's something that's a given. We talked about that on a previous live stream. Like, you can't take that away from Obama. Like, Obama is someone who the Democrats call in when, I mean, I want to say when it's a state of emergency amongst them, but he's just the guy that they call in to do, you know, the cleanup work when he wants people to get their act together, especially the black vote, right? We saw that with Kamala. We saw that with when there was a lady out at West Virginia that he went out there to support who was going against Winsome, and he supported the other lady on the Democratic side. Like, we see this. Obama's still very popular amongst the Democratic Party.
To be fair, some House Democrats sent letters. They didn't like the detention and breakup of the families. Nobody likes that. On and on. But it was very muted. And the press just totally, the way you didn't see every night, oh, these poor immigrants, these poor my... None of that happened. None of it.
They didn't do that with Obama.
Okay, now why the change? Why the change in the party? This is a key question. Republicans have remained consistent. No amnesty, close the border, enforce the law. But the Democrats have changed 180 degrees. So there's a group that Sinclair Broadcasting, they have a show every week, the National News Desk, and they tackled this question just recently, maybe a week ago. Roll tape.
So a former DHS senior advisor tells us he believes this Democratic shift started with the Biden administration and is now intensifying during Trump's second term, noting how previous Democratic administrations handled illegal immigration and the changes from 2021 to 2025.
The first administration in history to completely abandon their federal responsibilities to secure the border and enforce the immigration laws of this country.
Pointing to the numbers, national security expert and former DHS senior advisor Charles Marino telling the National News Desk he believes this Democratic reversal in part started 5 years ago.
We have seen now an abandonment by the party at large where they do not want to see these laws enforced.
5 years ago. Why did they do it? Oh, I think it's hate Trump. That's what it is. The Democratic Party understood that Donald Trump, one of his main reasons for running was to get the immigration situation under control. And it worked for him. He won the election, I think, because of it. So they opposed everything he did. That's what. It's not about the foreign nationals, the poor migrants. Not about that. It's about Trump. Oh, if he supports something, we're against it. And that's why this debacle blew up. That's why it did. Because anybody could see under Biden the disaster. 15 million people, maybe 1.5 million hardened violent criminals, Americans getting brutalized. You've heard all the cases, okay? Anybody can see it. And it's wrong. And that's what we're dealing with today. So the reason that the Democratic Party, and to this very moment, will not cooperate on immigration law at all is because they hate Trump.
Yep.
And that's the memo. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube
Shout
channel.
out to Bill
Follow me
O'Reilly.
on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.
Shout out to Bill O'Reilly. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that he did a good job in covering that, but I don't think it does us very good if people aren't doing the research, right? If people aren't doing the research to figure out what did this actually look like when Trump was when Obama was in office and who he was deporting and how this was working out, then they won't ever understand that he's not touching, like Donald Trump isn't touching his numbers. And I think that that's the only reason why we see the uproar that we see, because you have people literally thinking like Donald Trump's deporting the whole entire country. And I'm like, dude, he's literally not even touching. He's not touching what Barack did, not even close. So we have to make sure that we do our due diligence and, looking up information and making sure that we keep up with what the presidents are actually doing. I think Bill O'Reilly was spot on when he covered this, because there's just a lot that people do not pay attention to. So let's go ahead and let's go into the next clip of the live stream I got for you guys. I got the next one I want to take a look at was, I had this, but I wanted to wait to play it because we always save a Christian clip for the live stream. I have ex-satanic high priest explains how the devil reads people. So we're gonna use that clip. We're gonna cover that. Shout out to Dennis Garcia for that one. And then we got Aaron Page. Shout out to Aaron Page, a channel favorite. Many Christians believe he may actually be the Antichrist. This is just a particular individual that is buying, I think, just buying up a lot of property. I'm not gonna say I believe in coincidences, but I see why he's making people go a little bit crazy. So we're gonna play those clips. I might go into one more after that, and then after that, we're going to wrap up the live stream because I wanted this to be a quick Sunday treat for you guys. So let's jump in. Let's see what this ex-satanic high priest has to say about the devil reading us.
The devil knows what you're thinking. You're about to be shocked because an ex-high-ranking warlock, a man who spent 25 years serving...
Shout out to Dennis Garcia.
Now, this is a prominent lawyer on TikTok.
Darkness just exposed. If you think the devil knows what you're thinking, you're about to be shocked because an ex-high-ranking warlock, a man who spent 25 years serving darkness, just exposed something that most Christians completely misunderstand. And honestly, it explains why so many believers stay stuck, defeated, and tormented. And I'm telling you right now, what he reveals in this clip lines up with the Bible way more than what most churches are teaching. Now, before we hit play, do me a favor, chat, hit that like button for me so this video can get pushed out to more people, because too many Christians are getting played by the enemy simply because they don't understand how he actually works. Let's jump into the video. It gets powerful.
25 years after the occult, I left the devil. I used to sit with the devil face to face and get orders from the devil to plague neighborhoods, astral project, curse neighborhoods, put spirit of fear, poverty, sickness in neighborhoods, release these demons upon neighborhoods. And when I left, because I went to hell, came back, that's how I got saved. So when I left the kingdom of darkness now, I was plagued with this demonic fear that came over me because the demons would come at night to try to torment me. And I went to follow Jesus, a person that I couldn't see when I used to see the devil. And this tormenting fear that I have, the nighttime is coming, I have to go to sleep. These demons are coming for me. Should I sleep during the day instead of at night? And there was 30 days of this torment. I mean, I thought I was going to lose my mind. And then God completely set me free.
You talk about fear being like a bully. How is that?
You know, fear is a bully because it's always trying to push you around, manipulate you, control you, come at you, when you least suspect it. The bully in the schoolyard is the person that thinks that he can pick on you every day because he thinks he has the upper hand. He wants to prove a point. He wants to make himself look good. Until you tell enough is enough, bully. No more. You fear, I'm giving you an eviction notice. It's time for you to leave. And you have that choice.
And even just hearing you talk about how the enemy was just like coming at your mind, like those thoughts. It's like, because it's all about territory when it comes to play. Because Satan is all about gaining territory.
Legal rights. The devil wants legal rights over your life, over fear, try to destroy you, try to manipulate you, try to control you, try to steal God's best out of your life, just tormenting fear, whether you believe or not. Fear comes in every way. Fear, I always say, it reigns on the just and the unjust. Fear reigns on the people that are saved. And it's amazing because I wrote this book all because I've been preaching in London, and people in London saying they come to 8 out of 10 people come to the altar. John, I don't know how to say this, but I can't move forward. I have lost 5 years of my life because of fear. I can't even handle my marriage. I can't handle my children because of fear. And this is across the pond. People are struggling. Here in the States, in New York, people are struggling with fear. So it's everywhere. So how do you do it? How do you give an eviction order? How do you become free? How do you live free? So when fear comes knocking on your door one more time, you're like, I'm not opening the door. You're not going to move me anymore because I have conquered fear. 25 years went by. I was 25 years engrossed in darkness and spiritual demonic warfare, putting witchcraft on people, putting tormenting spirits on people. And one of the tools that I will use is a spirit of fear. release it on people to torment them and try to control them and manipulate them, because fear opens door that paralyzes people's lives. And one thing is in life that we can't lose time and opportunities that God has given us. And through fear, there have been many great people out there today. They can do so much, but they're stuck and they're closed down and they're shut down. And they can't move forward. You know, back in the Old Testament, how Pharaoh was plagued, the people from Israel were plagued. Fear is a plague. It's a tormenting thing. It's a disaster thing that when it comes upon you, it grips you. It's like a straitjacket. You know, it just comes upon you that the days seem like weeks. The weeks seem like months. You can't see beyond yourself. You can't. Things this person could do in so many ways. They don't see them.
In deep demonic activity, astral projecting.
Cancer, it eats away your life.
This man wasn't just playing with darkness. He wasn't just dabbling. He spent 25 years in deep demonic activity, astral projecting, cursing neighbors, meeting face to face with the devil. He would literally release fear as a weapon. So when he talks about spiritual reality, you're not hearing theory, you're hearing someone who actually lived it.
You know, I mean, the Bible speaks about it, right? We got to go back to the book that knows it all, right? I mean, Bible is an amazing book because the author's still alive, right? The author's still alive from that book, right? So Proverbs 18:21 say, life and death lays in your tongue. And we have declarations, we have the spiritual warfare prayers, right? Because in order to defeat fear, you need spiritual warfare prayers.
Yes.
I mean, there's some prayers that work. Yes. If I have a toothache, I'm not going to go to the foot doctor.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna go to the dentist to take care of my toothache. So the spiritual warfare prayers are powerful with the power of the Holy Spirit behind it, and you can destroy, dismantle, uproot, and cancel fear to declaring victory, declaring purpose, declaring your destiny, declaring that this situation shall pass. This is temporary. That God.
Now, I've actually watched this ex-Satanist before. So everything that he's saying right now, I'm super excited about because it's just truth. It's just so much truth to it. And I know people who are not afraid of like deliverance ministry or spiritual warfare. You know, they look for this stuff in the Bible, or they go to churches where this stuff is pretty prevalent or is prominent. You know, they're not going to shy away from things like this. So I just love hearing things like this because as scary as it may be, people really don't stop to think about the fact that demons do study them, that demons do listen in on conversations and things that they think about and things that they talk about. Some people are like, that stuff is scary, so I don't want to have anything to do with it. But that doesn't mean that it's not a real thing. That doesn't mean that we could just take away from it.
There's so much from me ahead of me than when I'm dealing with your situation. And when you declare, you put those prayers together, you mix your faith, you beat the devil like a piñata.
On people. Now, let's jump into this next clip where he explains exactly how the enemy tricks people into thinking he can read their mind.
One of the things I get emails from people from all over the world in the ministry that God has placed me, because sometimes people say me, I, and we don't own anything. God owns it all. Amen. So I want to talk to you about a place about emails. People send me emails. Oh, the devil read my thoughts. The devil read my thoughts. The devil knows which direction I'm going. The devil entrapped me. He can read my mind. The devil can read my mind. And the devil can't read your mind. The devil can't read your thoughts. The devil can't do that. The only God can read. The Bible says that God knows your thoughts from afar.
Right away, this is huge because some of y'all give the devil way too much credit. More credit than scripture ever does. Listen, Psalm 139 says, only God knows your thoughts even before you think them. Angels can't. Demons can't. Satan can't. They're created beings, not divine. So if the devil can't read your mind, why does it feel like he knows exactly how to attack you?
And when God's saying that, before you're thinking, God knows what you're thinking. That's how awesome he is. We serve an awesome God. We serve a mighty God. We serve a God, a sovereign God, a complete God. These are the devils, these devil worshippers, including devil worshippers, the devil himself and these demons and these principalities, they are fragmented. They ain't going nowhere. But we can't give them space in our inner thoughts. We can't give them space in our emotions. And we sure can. One of the things I've learned in the body, in my walk with the Lord, I've been walking with God now for like 19 years. One thing I've learned, habits. Yeah. What habits do you have? Because according to your habits, the devil knows what direction you're going. And if you know what direction you're going, he can convince you that he knows how to read your mind.
My name is Scott Harrison.
Just listen.
This is my wife, my son. People think that they're being spiritually attacked when in reality, they're just reaping the habits they refuse to confront. Now, let's be real. It's not always demons making you skip prayer. Most of the time, oftentimes, it's habit. It's not demons, oftentimes, making you run back into that toxic relationship. It is habit. It's not demons making you scroll up until 7 hours until 1 a.m. in the morning. It is habit. You break the habit, you break the foothold. I saw this video recently. If you don't break the habit today, the loop continues and repeats tomorrow. You need to break the loop. You need to break the habit. You break the attack. Ephesians 4 literally says, give no place to the devil. You want to know what place means? A location, a pattern, a behavior that he can count on. This clip is destroying all excuses.
He knows how to read your mind. What are your habits in the kingdom? What are your habits in your walk with God? What are your habits in your church? What are your habits in your home with your family? What are your habits with your wife if you're married or as a single person? What are your habits? What are your habits when you go to work? What are your habits when you spend time with the Lord? I want to understand that the devil understands if he can control your habit, he can infiltrate your habit with fear.
See, now he's talking about habits. But when he first said this, like, why, if the devil can't control your mind or your thoughts or read them, why does it seem like he can? And I said patterns, right? He says habits. Same thing, right? One and the same. And that's what I believe. I believe that those of us who have like these dark patterns or these patterns where they're very repetitive in our life, and I'm not going to say maybe we haven't tried to kick them, but maybe it's just always been a like, okay, Lord, if you get me out of this situation or help me not want this, instead of us putting a little bit of effort behind it, right? Like maybe going and seeking out therapy, maybe going and seeking out a support group or something like that. So yes, I think patterns and habits are very easy ways and small doors that we leave open for the enemy to be able to come through.
Fear. And fear will control your habits, and your habits have become a place of the devil pulling strings on you, and you're becoming a puppet. And we need to understand there's bad habits and they're good habits. What do you have? My good habits is be mindful of the Lord Jesus Christ, speaking in tongues throughout the day. My habit is speaking to God. Speaking to the Lord. I don't speak to God when I'm in trouble. I don't speak to God when my house is on fire. Those are bad habits, because and then God will just be my, if I'm running down the road and I get a flat, then God is my spare tire. I'm going to pull him out, to get me out of the situation. What are your habits? Because who owns?
I love that he said that. He said, I don't just talk to God when I'm in trouble or when something goes wrong or when I need something. Those are bad habits. I love the way that he just articulated that. I literally think that needs to be used more, because some people pride themselves in this. I know people like this that'll say things like, well, the only time I really pray or I ask God for something, is like if something's really, really wrong. I try not to ask God for small things. And they say it as if they're doing like a good thing. And I'm thinking to myself, surely you don't understand what a heavenly father is. Okay, but then it makes me wonder, what kind of earthly father are you, right? Because as a dad, do you not want your kids to come to you for like small things as well as big things? I don't want my kids to think like, oh yeah, this is a small thing, so my dad, he's not going to care about it. Like this doesn't matter to him. Like this is something that's just about my feelings, or this is something that's just about desires I have, so he doesn't care about these things. No, I still want to know about those things. God still cares about the small things as well as the big things. So I love that he said, like, that's a bad habit to pray to the Lord just when something's going wrong or just when you need something. I think he articulated that well.
Your habit? Who owns your way of being? Who owns your way of thinking? Who owns your way of moving, reasoning? Who owns those things? Because your habits dictate the direction that you're going. You can't tell me you're going north when you're facing south. So I want to say to you today that we need to come to a place and understand that habits break fear. The devil, if you have habits of bad thinking, if you have a habit of speaking a certain way, if you have habits of thinking a certain way, it will create a fear factor in your life. And the enemy loves the fear. The enemy is a spiritual pharaoh when it comes to fear. That's why when the Lord told me write a book about destroying fear, and I was like, destroying fear, Lord? I mean, why should I write a book about destroying fear? He said, because my people, my children, are stuck in fear.
Can demons read your mind? Here's the truth. If a demon is inside someone, it can influence their thoughts. That's the truth. Not read their mind like God. Okay, demons cannot read your mind. Only God can. But what the demons do is they influence, push, and suggest. They put pressure, they respond. And so when a demon responds to your thought, it's not because it hurt it, it's because it stimulated it. Oftentimes, that's why the Bible says take every thought captive, not because demons see your thoughts, but because they try to enter them. They try to get you to open a door. They try to get you to sin so they have an open door so that they can torment you. Whether it's unforgiveness, they enter you through unforgiveness. That's what the Bible says, that if you do not forgive other people, then your Father, not only will he not forgive you, but you will be given up to their torturers.
Owens lived in a place of fear for years on end, a place of torment, a place of going, don't know which direction to go, don't know when to move, in the crossroads of life, the crossroads of ministry, crossroads of decision, fear, habits, create habits, break those bad habits, break those habits of fear, break those habits that are controlling you. We need to come to a place. I renounce, I break, I tell the devil, I give you an eviction notice in the name of Jesus. You will not control my habits, because turn your bad habits into good habits. Turn them into a place to understand that God has given you good habits. Good habits bring consistency.
Shout out to him.
Victory, and fear have no place in your life. In the name of Jesus Christ.
Shout out to David Garcia. You guys can head over to his channel and watch the rest of that. I really love the way that he articulated that. You just don't see a lot of people talk about bad habits in the spirit or bad habits in prayer. And that actually is a very bad habit, to only go to the Lord when you need something or when something's wrong. Some people will say, well, I don't go to the Lord when I need something. I only go just to say thank you, or like if something is really, really the matter. And I just think to myself, like, yeah, God is a much better father than that. He wants more interaction than that. So let's go to the last clip of the live stream. Shout out to Aaron Page. He covered, many Christians believe he may actually be the Antichrist. Now, while we should not be fixated on who the Antichrist is, it's always nice, sometimes even fun and hilarious to watch these videos about who people think it might be, right? So let's just take a look. Shout out to Aaron Page. I love his content. I love his channel. Been watching him for some time. Let's take a look at this and see exactly what Aaron covered as far as the Antichrist goes. Oh man, this is gonna be good.
If you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls, and President Trump responded.
First, what a coincidence there, 666, right? If you had, of course, that would just happen.
All right, you guys already heard the 666. I know it.
There is one individual right now that many Christians believe could possibly be the Antichrist. Okay, and we absolutely have to talk about those claims and why Christians feel this way about this specific individual. Okay, now after you look at some of the things that he's involved in and who he is and the family that he comes from and the relationships that he's built with different countries, if he isn't the Antichrist, he's definitely someone that we may want to keep watch on. Okay, something strange about him for sure. I want to show you guys some videos. We got a ton of videos to go through, including some biblical prophecy, okay, and what this could potentially mean in the future. All right, let's go ahead and hop into this video, watch it, and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys. Let's hop in.
So everyone's been talking about Jared Kushner. Many talking about Jared Kushner. Well, I'm sure you've seen him pop up a lot lately. And admittedly, he is an interesting guy. In Trump's first term, it was Jared Kushner who came out of nowhere and started to broker Middle East peace deals. It was Kushner who developed the Abraham Accords deal. It was Kushner who helped to set up the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem exactly 70 years on its anniversary. It was Kushner who just recently, even though he holds no official White House position, instituted a major Israel deal between nations this term. And it was Kushner who advised this administration on what could happen if Gaza was vacated and then rebuilt. And now we see he is making plans to turn Gaza into an AI-driven smart city with his Project Sunrise plan. And ironically, Kushner knew the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, since he was a child. It's just interesting how he now is in the mix of all of this, and people are noticing that all of these things are just happening rapidly. They're scratching their heads, and when you look further into Kushner, many are also finding it interesting that it was also Kushner who made history with one of the largest real estate purchases when he acquired the 666 building as his company's office. And of course, what a coincidence there, 666, right? Of course, that would just have to be one of the largest purchases in the United States, the 666 building by Jared Kushner. And then you have people making the point that his name translates into 666 with Hebrew gematria. And then, some say, well, even his height is 6'3", 6'3". So you have all of these coincidences with the number 666. You have all of these negotiations with Israel. So you already know people are going to say that this is sounding like something out of a Left Behind end times movie. Some even jokingly say that he reminds them of the kid from The Omen, all grown up. No comment on that. And so, the internet is going crazy, and I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot of coincidences, okay? Yeah, and this man, I'm not saying he's the Antichrist right now. I do believe that he's gonna have some type of involvement with the setup of the systems that the Antichrist is, or not the Antichrist, but the beast, the dragon, is going to use in the future, okay? But this is too many coincidences, and he kind of came up out of nowhere. It's like he just kind of sprouted up as an important figure in political affairs and even international affairs, okay? Let's watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll hop into some more videos. Let's check it out. There is video after video being made about him. In fact, if you even go to his personal Instagram page, well, look at these comments. And these comments, they don't hold back. They are just calling him this. And, most people would turn off the comments at this point, but it's almost like Kushner is just bold with it. He doesn't care. When people see figures like Jared Kushner making moves like this, and they see all of the coincidences with 666, and oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. The amount that he purchased the 666 building for was 1.8 billion, 600 million times 3. Just another coincidence, right? And there's so many of them. And so when people see this, it's easy to immediately say, oh yeah, that's the AC. He's got to be the AC. But we have to remember something very important. Revelation chapter's name. You see, one thing about the Bible is that the name of an individual is often linked to their purpose and identity. We see that with Jesus, Yeshua. Yeshua means salvation. Jesus came, brought salvation. The name Emmanuel is also linked to Christ, and that name means God with us. Abraham, that's a name that means father of many nations. So one's name is very important. And let's look at what the name of Kushner, Jared, means. Kushner, many have mentioned that his name in the Hebrew refers to descend or descent. Many have also noted that scholars sometimes connect that to the fallen angels when they descend to the earth, which is interesting. Also, few have noted that the name Jared appears in the Bible in 3 separate books. And in each book, he's referred to as being the 6th generation. And so that's interesting that, many have pointed that out. People are saying, well, they're connecting him with this whole 6th thing again, right? In Genesis 5, he's shown to be the 6th and then the Chronicles the 6th, and Luke the 6th, and Adam. So they're saying that's some type of an interesting pattern. And I'm just sharing these things because these are things that people have been talking about in the comments. I want to present them to you. People have said that Jared, the generation of Jared, is when the Watchers or the fallen angels came to the earth, right? And that seems to be the truth. You know, we see that right after Jared's generation, that's when there's this story of the angelic beings coming down and interfering with humanity and creating the Nephilim giants, right? And that was during the Jared generation.
Okay, so obviously all of those things were, coincidences, right? None of that actually means that he is either the Antichrist or part of this beast system that's going to take place. No, but it is kind of odd. Okay, now, but what is true is that he is definitely heavily involved in foreign affairs. Okay, and they say that multiple countries, Middle Eastern countries, have given him billions of dollars, right, for the use of investment funds and stuff like that. And he is a part of this Board of Peace situation. He's the one that helped come up with the plan for the Board of Peace, the overall master plan. He's going to tell you guys this, okay? And also, he's the one that is working on developing a place of peace in Gaza for not just people that live in Gaza and Israel, but for the world to see and be able to visit, almost like some tourist place, right? And he's talking about how peaceful it's going to be, how much money they're going to make. And a lot of people say it seems evil that he's doing this or he's doing this in a place where it was a lot of destruction. I think it was like almost 80,000 people, Gazan people, have passed away in this area. And he's at the moment leveling it out, clearing up debris, starting in Rafah and moving into Gaza, or southern Gaza, which he's going to call New Gaza. And they're going to make this thing a utopia, a new place where people can come and visit and stay and have a good time under the lives of a lot of people that, unfortunately lost their lives there, okay? Let me show you him talking about this plan right here, and then we'll go on to the next video.
Master plan. We brought in, I thank you, Kirga Bai, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we're going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rafah we'll start with. This will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope. It could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance.
Okay, so before I show you this video, Candace Owens speaking on Jared Kushner and the things that she said about him that even ties in to everything that people are saying about him and how strange it is that he all of a sudden just popped up and assumed so much authority. And her video was made, I want to say, July or somewhere, maybe like in the fall of 2025. It's not very recent, as in like, a month or 2 months, whatever. It just seems kind of odd, right? And I think that from the way it looks, and they already have, I think, 45 countries now that signed with this new Board of Peace, right? It seems like they're going to do it. The one discrepancy I can see is Hamas not allowing this to happen. I think they're going to steamroll Hamas. I think Hamas is not going to be a problem for them, with all of the countries that are getting involved, with America being so powerful that we haven't even really stepped in and dealt with Hamas. And Hamas is not the same as, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff like that. I think they're going to steamroll Hamas and start this plan, unfortunately, because when I say unfortunately, because it's devastating what took place there, and they're going to build a utopia on top of it. Let me show you what Candace Owens has to say about Jared Kushner. Let's check it out.
It made a lot of people in the MAGA movement uncomfortable that Jared was so intimately involved, right? He was the person that had Trump's ear, right? There is the king, and then there is the person who whispers into the king's ear. The king's advisor holds a lot of power. So anyways, Jared was that person. Everybody knew that if you wanted to get something done, you went through Jared. Okay, Jared was running the White House the first term. He just was. And what I think bothered me was Jared had so much power, and he got a lot done that he wanted through President Trump. But then when Jared left his post at the White House, suddenly we learn that Saudi Arabia injects $2 billion into his fund. Okay, this is a headline in the Wall Street Journal. Jared Kushner's new fund plans to invest Saudi money in Israel. And so regarding the money, they would think after being in the office and speaking to your father-in-law that maybe that money would be coming to America in a big way. Well, Forbes did a deep dive on where that money was going. This was the headline. It was why Jared Kushner will become a billionaire no matter who wins. And in that article, it tells us, quote, Affinity had a slow start, deploying almost no capital in its first year while Kushner learned the ropes and navigated a turbulent pandemic market. But it's since picked up the pace and has now invested about $1.6 billion in at least 8 firms in Brazil, Germany, Israel, the US and UK, and the UAE in industries ranging from finance to energy. Its most notable investments so far are the ones that it made in Israel. In September of 2023, Affinity announced a $110 million deal for a 15% stake in the automotive and credit business of the conglomerate Shlomo Group. It was the first ever known investment by Saudi and Qatari wealth funds in Israel. Just going to LOL that because I'm funded by Qatar. Okay, take down Candace Owens. It's just like Israel does deals with Qatar the whole time. That's the point here. I really do wish that money was being invested in America, again, because you used the office to facilitate deals that would help you and your family. Of course you did that. But then you wonder, okay, what is his vision after October 7th?
That's crazy. That is crazy. While I was watching that, I was thinking, because, Jared Kushner was talking about the employment success that's going to be there. I could imagine them giving the citizens of Gaza employment to build up this beautiful new Gaza city for the leaders, the world leaders, to now go to Gaza to have their meetings and to plan things. It's going to be done in Gaza. This small strip on Israel land where world leaders go to, because they're having this board of peace there, right? Or the board of peace, the initiative is to fix up Gaza, and many countries are going to invest into this, which I'm going to show you. Jared Kushner said in an interview that they do not question whether or not they're going to have the money to build Gaza. That's not the question. They're going to get the investments from other countries. It seems to me like they're going to make New Gaza a place where all of the world leaders come to and hold meetings, plans, ideas, and they're going to use the citizens of Gaza to clean it up and build structures. And while building their houses and giving them quality of life, giving them jobs, money, but they're building this for the world leaders to conduct their private meetings where they're going to, cause more chaos or plan more things in the future. It all seems strange. I was thinking this is literally, I don't think I've ever witnessed anything like this happening for America since I've been born, where, we have pushed ourselves into a situation in a different country where we're taking it over completely and turning it into essentially another strip of America. right? I know America's going to be heavily involved in the things that take place in Gaza. Even in the plan, Trump's plan, he had a 20-point plan. One of his points was that Israel's going to back off and they're going to limit their control over Gaza and give it over to the Board of Peace, which the Board of Peace is going to be controlled by Donald Trump. He's the indefinite leader until further notice. Every candidate that on the Board of Peace would have to kick him out in order for him to lose his position. So it seems like it's going to be in America's hands for a long time. It's all strange.
Part of the plan is the reconstruction, the rebuilding of Gaza. And you're builders. You've been in real estate. As you said, it's extremely complex. Tell us more about the plan and how much it's going to cost. Where's the money going to come from? And who's going to award the contracts? Three questions.
She got those questions lined up.
I think it's going to cost a lot of money.
What's a lot of money?
The estimates are in the $50 billion range. It might be a little bit less. It might be a little bit more. I happen to think that that's not a lot of money in that region. You have governments that are going to jump on in. And
so the Middle East countries are going to provide the money.
You'll see European participation and so forth. I think the beginning of this plan is how to get it going. And that's what me and Jared work on all the time. The money raising, we think, is the easy part. We think that happens relatively quickly. But it's the master plan, and we're working with a group of people who have been working on master plans for the last 2 years.
So there are plans already.
We have plans already. We have a master plan already. And by the way, and Jared's been pushing this, and we're working together on it. And I think if the world saw the progress so far, they'd be pretty impressed.
Yeah, so basically over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of organizations that have been trying to determine what happens after the war. What's clear right now is we're very much focused on the humanitarian and the deconfliction to make sure that the aid can get to the people. And
deconfliction, because there's still shooting over there.
Yeah, so you have to make sure that we're dealing with both sides and sending messages so that you don't let embers become little fires that become forest fires. So we're working on deconfliction, humanitarian aid.
Mind you, this war specifically with Israel and Gaza has been going on since October of 2023. They said they had a master plan for 2 years. That would mean that the start of the war, they already had a master plan that they were working on for Gaza. At the start of the war, which leads me to believe they probably had a master plan before the war started. It only makes sense. They're not going to come out and say it.
Yeah.
We've already been planning this for years. We have countries invested. He said the money's not a problem. There are already countries that are going to invest. It just makes sense that this thing was planned years ago, before the war started.
Right now, you have Gazans trying to go home. They're trying to go back to where they lived before. They're going back to where the rubble is and putting a tent down. And
Correct. And by the way, and it's rough there because it's not just rubble. It's a lot of unexploded munitions all over the field. And as to your question, Leslie, who's going to award contracts? The answer is there's a board of peace, and we're going to be very, very focused and fastidious about having the best talent there. We're already talking to contractors from all of the Middle Eastern countries because we think there has to be support from them, and they know the market in the best way.
Will it be transparent?
Everything's transparent that we do. Yes.
You can't replace a corrupt government with another corrupt government. The reason why, again, and this is an impossible thing to do, but Steve and I and President Trump are always aiming to try and accomplish impossible but rational things. So the goal here is to set up a transparent, good government. This can be very, very difficult to do, but we're in the very early phases of trying to accomplish that.
Okay, so getting back on to Jared Kushner and if he is going to be the Antichrist involved in the beast system that is spoken of in Revelation, you can't say he is because, we don't know 100%, but I'm saying that he definitely is someone of interest. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that there's something about him that's unique to him. There's something about him that just feels very eerie. All right, if I can be honest, in my opinion, it feels very eerie. There's talk about how he didn't deserve to go to Harvard. Okay, he didn't have the grades, is what people are saying. But he went to Harvard. He went to New York School of Business, I think, or he went to a nice school in New York as well. He's very well spoken. Very well spoken. Okay, he's always calm. He has a very soft but affirming demeanor. Mm-hmm. He could be a potential candidate.
The Prophet ﷺ said, "The best charity is giving water."
Growing up, my father was a big Democrat donor. We'd have in our house, whether it be Chuck Schumer or Hillary Clinton. I think my father gave Cory Booker his first campaign donations. I know Cory since I'm 15 years old. So really grew up around Democrat politics all of our life. But over time, I think during the Obama years, I changed my registration to an independent. I didn't feel like the Democrat Party was fully representing my viewpoints. I felt more independent-minded. And then during the time with my father-in-law, when he was running for office, he invited me to go with him to a rally in Springfield, Illinois. We flew out there. I got off the plane, and we pull up to an arena, and the guy comes up to Trump and says, "Congratulations, sir! You just broke the record for the arena for attendance." And he says, "Well, who had the record before?" And he says, "Well, it was Elton John 36 years earlier." And he says, "Jared, look, I don't even have a guitar or a piano. This is impressive." So, he gets up on stage and without really notes, riffs for over an hour. And it was interesting for me because I was watching, CNN and the New York Times, and all my friends in the media basically were describing his rallies as almost like KKK conventions. But I walked around the crowd. Nobody knew who I was then. And what I saw was that these were just, people were old, young, male, female, white, minority. And it was just people who were hardworking Americans who really felt like Trump was giving them a voice. And what was interesting to me was a couple weeks earlier, we'd been at the Robin Hood Foundation, which is the big philanthropy in New York, where a lot of the hedge fund managers support. I remember the chairman of Robin Hood getting up and saying, if we want to save, the next generation, we want to save the kids in the inner cities, we have to support Common Core. That's the way that we can save people. And I remember Trump gets up there and he says, if we want to save education, we have to end Common Core and send it to the states. And I'm saying, wait, I thought Common Core was this great thing, but why are all these people against it? And so it really just kind of piqued my interest and made me realize that maybe my aperture was way smaller, way more closed than I thought it was. And it really led me to seek out a lot of people who had differing points of view than the people I'd been around before. I really opened my aperture, explored a lot. And over the years, I really got the chance to meet with people from both sides. So, I have a lot of friends who are independent, friends who are liberal, friends who are very Republican. And, my personal view was I thought of myself more as a pragmatist, fact-based and data-driven. And based on that, I tried to pursue the different policies that I thought made the most sense in as unemotional a way as possible.
That just adds more to the accusations. This guy is friends with everyone. He's not Democrat. He's not Republican. He's not leaning left or right. He's right there in the middle with everybody, seeing all sides and being able to show support and build relationships with all sides, all people. Mm-hmm. It just adds to the accusations against him. I ain't gonna lie.
It's funny because he kind of gives off the whole James Tellerico feel. He has that James Tellerico vibe. In case you guys don't know who that is, he's a representative from Texas who's going against Jasmine Crockett right now. They're both going up for a Senate seat. And James Tellerico has this kind of demeanor, this kind of demeanor or this kind of stature about him. Is very interesting.
I want to show you guys biblical prophecy. Daniel speaking about the angel speaking to Daniel about what's his name? Antiochus, I think that's how you say his name, Epiphanes the fourth, which is the first individual that was that did the abomination of desolation on the temple before it was destroyed. I want to look at that, but then I also want to briefly look at the fourth kingdom that is spoken of by Daniel in the book of Daniel and what that could possibly be. Just speculation, okay? But let's check it out. I want to talk about this because, I believe that when we look at what took place in the past and how prophecy was fulfilled, we can look at the future and say, well, we just have to look at certain things, and in order to understand where we are where we are in regard to prophetic events taking place. Now, this right here took place. It's proof that the Bible is true and accurate. Antiochus Epiphanes IV was a king from the north. It says that he was the king of the Seleucid Empire, a Hellenistic Greek state ruling from 175 BC to 164 BC. As a ruler of this Syrian-based kingdom, he is known for his attempts to forcefully Hellenize his territories, leading to the persecution of Jews, the desecration of the temple in Jerusalem, and the subsequent Maccabean revolt. Okay, and if you look at this, it says, this is the prophecy that the angel gave to Daniel. At the appointed time, he will invade the south again, but this time the outcome will be different from what it was before. Ships of the western coastlands will oppose him, and he will lose heart. Then he will turn back and vent his fury against the Holy Covenant. He will return and show favor to those who forsake the Holy Covenant. His armed forces will rise to desecrate the temple fortress and will abolish the daily sacrifice. Then they will set up the abomination that causes desolation. With flattery, he will corrupt those who have violated the covenant, but the people who know their God will firmly resist him. The people that know their God is the ones that, the Maccabean revolt, right? Okay, so according to AI, it says the term ships of Kittim refers to naval forces from the west, often associated with Rome. So the biblical prophecy said that there's going to be ships from the western coastlands that's going to oppose Antiochus Epiphanes. It says that he ruled the Seleucid Empire. We just said that. His reign was marked by conflicts with the Jewish population. The ships of Kittim are mentioned in the context of prophetic literature. This event marked a significant shift in power dynamics in the region, highlighting Rome's rising influence. So prophecy said that this was going to take place. An angel told Daniel this was going to happen, and it did happen. And so now let's look at the prophecy of the fourth kingdom that's going to appear, that the angel spoke to Daniel about, that he told was going to be in the end times. This was going to take place in the end times. Let's look at it. It says, and it was a fourth beast that Daniel seen in this dream or vision. And he said, so he told me and gave me the interpretation of these things, the angel. The four great beasts are four kingdoms that will rise from the earth, but the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. Then I wanted to know the meaning of the fourth beast, which was different from all the others and most terrifying with its iron teeth and bronze claws. The beast that crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head and about the other horn that came up, before which 3 of them fell. The horn that looked more imposing than the others and that had eyes and a mouth that spoke boastfully. As I watched, and so it said eyes and a mouth that spoke boastfully. I think there is some significance in the fact that it said that this horn had eyes like the eyes of a human being and a mouth that spoke boastfully. And I'm not a scholar in the Bible, but to me, it seems like this horn is not a human being. It has the eyes of a human being and a mouth that spoke boastfully. The significance that they had to say eyes like a human would indicate that it's not a human, or at least that's what it seems like. But let's continue. Right. It says, as I watched, this horn was waging war against the holy people and defeating them until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High, and the time came when they possessed the kingdom. He gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. Now, I do want to say at this point in time, they did not know about America, right? America was uninhabited. No one really knew about America during this time, and that this country, and even like North America, South America, whatever. It says.
Gaza is at a tipping point.
All right. So I'm gonna stop it right there. Aaron's just gonna continue reading on, and then he's gonna finish up, do some explaining. I want you guys to go over to Aaron Page's channel and give him his due views for that hard video that he worked on. Shout out to Aaron Page, man. I appreciate him coming with all the scripture. He picked out some pretty good scripture. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the live stream for tonight. Like I said, guys, live stream not too long because Sundays is not a normal day for us. But I wanted to bring you guys a treat after me spending all that time in the snowy mountains looking at, property and beautiful places and seeing all the snow and doing a whole bunch of shoveling. So I'm glad that it's pretty much done with now. At least it looks like it for now. I will see you guys tomorrow for the daily live stream. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, the rest of your night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Love yourselves. Love one another. Be peaceful. Tell somebody about Jesus. Peace.